And I got sick. I thought it was the flu, so I took some medicine and went to bed. 8 days later, I woke up in the hospital, blind, disoriented, and more than just a little lucky to be alive.
Wow.
Miraculously, my fraternity brother found me unconscious on the floor in my bedroom. Now, I'm definitely not the only guy that's got a story about that in their college days.
Yes.
But rather than the result of a memorable college night for me, my experience was due to a nasty bout with bacterial meningitis.
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Marks from Go to Health. Welcome back to another show. You can watch us and subscribe to us on our website at gotohealthmedia.com. You can also watch and subscribe to us on YouTube and on 8 podcast networks, including Apple and Spotify. If you like our show, please rate us so we can learn more about what you like. We appreciate your feedback. So on to today's show. Meningitis is a serious illness that can cause life-threatening complications and even death. Among those who contract meningitis, 1 in 10 will die despite appropriate treatment, and sometimes within 24 hours. We're going to talk about vaccines again, which are proven safe and effective. Many parents may not know that different types of vaccines are available to help protect against the 5 vaccine preventable groups of meningitis: A, B, C, W, and Y. While many teens may have received meningitis vaccination when they were younger, they could be missing vaccination for meningitis B, which is typically recommended for teens around 15 to 16 years of age. So make sure your teen gets that vaccine for meningitis B. It could save their life. The bacteria that cause meningitis can spread easily through everyday teen behaviors, like sharing drinks or utensils, kissing, or living in close quarters. Now is a good time for you parents to start discussing vaccination with your child's doctors as part of back-to-school health conversations. We have 2 guests with us today. Dr. April Barnes is the Pediatric Division Director for Cooperative Health. She continues to see children in the clinic and hospital and develops and leads initiatives to enhance children's health in the region. For her work, Dr. Barnes was selected as one of Lexington County's top 20 under 40 for 2023. Also with us is John, a passionate advocate, speaker, and survivor who turned a life-altering battle with meningitis into a mission to inspire and educate others. He contracted meningitis as a college sophomore, an experience that left him with neurological effects and blindness. But John refused to let adversity define him. Now, through his podcast and advocacy work, he raises awareness about meningitis, resilience, and the power of perseverance. His podcast is called Destiny is Debatable. So, welcome to the show, Dr. April Barnes and John. How are you both today?
Great.
Tremendous. Great to be here, Jonathan.
Good. So, Dr. Barnes, could you explain what meningitis is and how serious it can be?
So, meningococcal disease, known as meningitis, is a bacterial infection that is uncommon but serious and can lead to long-term complications and even death, sometimes within 24 hours. So, 1 in 10 of the people who contract meningococcal disease will die even with proper treatment, and 1 in 5 of the survivors will have long-term complications that can include limb amputation, brain damage, or hearing loss.
That's pretty serious. And I understand there are 5 different types of meningitis that people have to be aware of. And tell us about the vaccination schedule and how they can protect themselves.
So yes, there are 5 groups of meningococcal disease, and typically at 11 is when we offer the A, C, W, and Y vaccination, and at 16 is when we offer the B vaccine. There have been some changes, so we always recommend that you talk to your teen's doctor about vaccinations that they have already received and ones that they can receive at their current age, as well as their risk factors.
The B vaccine, we get that later. Why is that given later in life? And because I understand people can forget about that one and never get it and then get meningitis. Why is it given at a different time than the rest?
It's given at a different time because the 16 to 23 age range is when teens and young adults are at an increased risk. So we're giving it to them in a time right before they would actually go into when they would have that increased risk. So it's mainly because of their age and their risk factors at that age.
What are those risk factors? Is it being more social, sharing things? What makes things more risky at that age?
So yeah, just exactly what you said. They are sharing drinks, utensils, they are kissing, coughing and sneezing, of course, but also living in close quarters. So college dorms and military barracks, all of those things put them at an increased risk.
Good. And John, can you please tell us about your experience with meningitis? When did you get this? Under what circumstances? And how did it go for you?
Yeah, Jonathan, I was 19 years old. I was one of those teenagers. I was a sophomore in college and felt like I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I was invincible. And I got sick. I thought it was the flu, so I took some medicine and went to bed. 8 days later, I woke up in the hospital, blind, disoriented, and more than just a little lucky to be alive.
Wow.
Miraculously, my fraternity brother found me unconscious on the floor in my bedroom. Now, definitely not the only guy that's got a story about that in their college days.
Yes.
But rather than the result of a memorable college night for me, my experience was due to a nasty bout with bacterial meningitis.
Gosh.
I lost most of my vision. I have permanent neurological damage throughout my body, including a bladder that doesn't function properly. I live with invisible disabilities that have affected my life every day since, and it's been about 28 years.
Mm.
Meningitis didn't just affect me, though. It affects, well, of course, me, but my family, and really it's more of a community because the amount of energy and attention that it took for me to get myself back together after being sidelined like this, it was just incredible. And it took a team, it took a village to get me to where I am today. And kind of at the beginning, we realized that surviving meningitis was definitely not the end of the journey. It was just the beginning.
So you seem so positive and that you've really come out of this with, I guess, a new vitality for life. Where did you find that strength?
Well, I thank you. I hope that's the case. It wasn't always that way, though. At the beginning, there were some pretty dark times. All of the essentially overnight changes that occurred to my body. I had never heard of meningitis until after waking up from it. Soon thereafter, understanding, I heard they kept saying meningitis. I'm like, what is meningitis? I don't know what that is.
Yes.
So the road to recovery was very long, and some may even argue that I'm still affected by meningitis today. As I mentioned, I've lost my sight. I have zero vision in my right eye,
Mm.
and I have 2300 vision in my left eye.
Mm.
So 2020 is perfect vision, 2080 is poor vision, 2300, it's like looking through binoculars backwards.
Hmm.
I mean, I can see just enough to be dangerous. And
Right.
so you've got to have, my family, as I mentioned, was critical in my success
Yes.
for rebounding. But eventually I was able to come out of the darkness. And I attribute, among many people, my wife, who I met about 15 years ago. And fatherhood was likely not in the picture for me
Hmm.
as a result of meningitis. But with Aaron, everything changed, and I'm now the parent of three beautiful girls,
Oh,
which, as a side
wonderful.
note, it's almost, yeah, thank you. It's almost as scary as meningitis, actually. But they have given me the purpose and the reason to basically share the story because, again, no, I hadn't heard of it, and there's lots of people that haven't. And the more people that we can spread awareness, the more conversations we can have around it, the better the outcome is going to be.
Good. Yeah, my hat's off to you. From that recovery to now being married and the father of three girls. Congratulations. That's absolutely
Thank
fabulous.
you.
Good for
Yeah,
you, John. So, Dr.
thank you.
Barnes, what question should parents be asking their teen's doctor? I mean, what kind of awareness do parents need to have about meningitis? Because as John just mentioned, this is a pretty serious disease, can be deadly in the first 24 hours or so. What questions should people be asking to protect their kids?
So most people think that their teens are completely protected, but they may have just received vaccination for ACWNY. So the first thing I would recommend is that parents know what meningitis vaccinations their teens have received already.
Hmm.
And if they've completed those series, then they should ask. what are the risk factors for their particular teen, and are there any vaccinations that they would be able to receive at that point? And then making sure you know the follow-up schedule and making sure that that's on your calendar so that you can complete whatever series you start.
Good. That's great advice. John, I understand you're involved with this Lifetime movie that's coming out. It's called Pretty Hurts. What involvement have you had with that movie?
Well, I'm just involved in the promotion of the movie and helping GSK bring this thing to life. It's really a tremendous movie that I think you mentioned will be on Lifetime on June 28th. So I know where I'll be on June 28th in front of my TV watching this. It's really, I've seen clips from it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really does a great job of bringing something like meningitis into to the forefront and shining the light on the speed at which this can happen, and it honors the families of victims and people like me who have survived the disease. And I think it's going to go a long way in the goal of getting people to have conversations with their doctors about meningitis vaccination.
Good. This is great. And you said this is being put on by GSK, which is GlaxoSmithKline. They're one of the sponsors of this.
Yeah, that's right. And also I'll add that there's a very powerful moment in the movie where the doctor at the hospital comes out to speak with the mother of the patient. And in my story, that would be my parents. And I get really emotional when I saw it for the first time, and even talking about it now, because
Mhm.
as a parent myself now, I can only imagine what's sitting in a parent's shoes being delivered that type of information. Very grim prognosis, very low odds of survival, and if survival does happen, here's a list of things that are possible. And
Mhm.
it's excruciating to think about,
Yeah.
but the power in the story is really what is going to move people to have start the conversations and talk to their doctors, talk to their teens, pediatricians, because knowing all these details, the more awareness that's created by this movie and this campaign can make all the difference.
Great. So I'm going to ask you a final question, each of you, which is what message you'd like to leave with people before we leave today. But I want to promote the website where people can learn more, and it's asktobesure.com. And let me spell that. It's ask, and then the number two, the letter B, and then the word sure. So asktobesure.com. So, Dr. Barnes, what message would you like to leave with people today before we move on?
I would like to say that teens age 16 to 23 are at increased risk of meningitis B, and that parents should know what vaccinations their teen has already had, as well as what they are eligible for, as well as their risk factors, and they should complete the series that they start for meningitis.
Great. And what other kinds of initiatives are you working with at the Cooperative Health?
So, as a primary care pediatrician, I'm boots on the ground in terms of preventive care. And so educating parents is basically what I do all day. And so this being a part of GSK is just more of what I already do every day to help parents provide the information that they need to help protect their teens and young adults.
Great. And this is in South Carolina. Is that the area of your practice?
It is, yes.
Beautiful. And John, what message would you like to leave with people today?
Meningitis is rare, but it is real. It almost killed me in my sleep. Nobody expects it, but being better informed can make all the difference.
Great. That's a good message. And John has a podcast which is called Destiny is Debatable. And I highly recommend you listen to that. What kind of topics do you cover on your podcast, John?
Well, we cover a lot of things, but probably the one I should point out here is that on the topic of meningitis, I've spoken with many people that have been affected by meningitis, survivors like myself, parents who have lost children to meningitis, and doctors and physicians that help promote the awareness. It's my way of spreading, one of my ways, I guess, of spreading awareness about meningitis, because meningitis has taught me a lot of things in life.
Great. Good. So again, you can find out more at asktobesure.com. That's ASK, the number two, the letter B, and then the word sure, asktobesure.com. We've been talking with Dr. April Barnes. She's the Pediatric Division Director for Cooperative Health, one of the largest federally qualified health centers in South Carolina, where she grew up. She continues to see children in the clinic and hospital and develops and leads initiatives to enhance children's health in the region. We've also been talking with John, who's a passionate advocate, speaker, and survivor of meningitis, who turned a life-altering battle with meningitis into a mission to inspire and educate others. This has been Jonathan Marks with Go to Health Media. We thank you so much for watching us today. We are enjoying 10,000 downloads per day. Thank you so much for your loyalty and interest. We hope to see you again on one of our upcoming shows. And remember, as we say at the end of every show, go to health. Take care. We'll see you again. Bye-bye. Thanks both. This was great. Thank you for tuning in today to Go to Health. You are one of almost 10,000 people per day who enjoy the evidence-based health information offered by our guest health experts. You can watch us on our website and YouTube and listen to us on 8 podcast networks. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks in our upcoming shows each week. If you like our show, please share this episode with your friends and colleagues. You can subscribe to the show, join our email list, send us feedback, browse through the online store, and view our library of over 150 shows at gotohealthmedia.com. See you next time, and remember to elevate your life with Go to Health.